Hello, guys. Welcome back to FPL Bros. I'm FPL Rich, and I'm here with MIGS. Today, we're going to go over our Game Week 34 transfer plans. But first, let's quickly go over how we performed in Game Week 33. Okay, so quickly going over Game Week 33's performance, I landed on 67 points. And overall, I think I managed on a slight red arrow. As you can see, it says null, but that's because the graphics were done right after the game against, or right after City's games against Crystal Palace. So the system was not updated. But overall, I think I landed on a slight red arrow. Nothing crazy, but I did play my bench boost, which is a bit unfortunate. Here, looking at my team, Dan Burn did get that -2 points. I ended up not moving away from Dan Burn, but it didn't really matter because I think Forrest did not manage to keep a clean sheet. So overall, -2 points. If I did get those 2 extra points, I think I would have managed to probably land on a slight green arrow. But overall, performance-wise, the team did not do anything pretty good. Savinho, I think he started one game and then he got benched for the second game. Saka played. He did play the first game. I do believe he did not. He came off the bench in the second game. Overall, in the 2 games, he didn't do much. Neither did Marmoush, but he did start both games, so he did land on 4 points. Salah didn't do anything either, so he landed on 3 points. The only players that really scored, managed to score, were pretty much the defenders, and the only forward up top was Mateta and the midfielder of Rogers. So everyone else pretty much blanked except for a lot of the defenders on this team. Let's move on to MIGS' squad.
Now going on to my Game Week 33 review, and I got 75 points. And just some players here to note out. I did get a green arrow, but just some players here. I got Raya with 7, Munoz, Guardival, and Ruben, all with good points. And then Saka, Murphy, Salah, and Rogers. The only player there that came up was Rogers with an assist. And then Mateta and Joao Pedro, and I did have my captaincy on Marmoush. A little unfortunate. He could have had a assist, but a little unfortunate there. And then I did have my coachship on, and I did have 15 points. He did end up getting a tie against Arsenal, so overall I would say it was a decent game week.
Okay, so now moving on to our Game Week 34 transfer plans, starting with me. I am going to be playing my free hit. It is active currently. So for my 2 goalies, I did get Leno and Jose Sa. I know Jose does have a slight knock. He did not play the last game. So I'm probably going to replace him with probably an active goalie for this game week if there is news that he's not going to play. But Leno is probably going to be maybe my starting goalkeeper. We'll see. Moving on to my midfield, my defense, I landed on Kirkes, Robinson, Livermento, Aitnery, and Mikalenkovic. Most of these, probably the 3 that I'm going to be playing are the ones that are facing the relegation side here, with the Robinson, Livermento, and Aitnery. Moving on to my midfield here, I did transfer in Palmer, Iwobi, Salah, Jacob Murphy, and Elanga. Some differentials to note out here. I do have Elanga and Iwobi in my squad. I know a lot of people have Palmer, Salah, and Murphy for this game week, which makes sense. A lot of these guys are facing some of the lower end teams, but Iwobi and Elanga are pretty good differentials, I would say. Iwobi did score in his last fixture against Chelsea, and coming up against Southampton away. Southampton are one of the worst sides in the Prem this season. They've already been relegated, so there's really nothing to play for. And Iwobi does get a lot of those 90 minutes, so it is probably a good pick for me. Whereas Elanga as well, he hasn't been playing as much in the last couple of fixtures, so whether or not I'll play him or whether or not I'll keep him in my squad kind of depends on some of the news there. But I do have him currently in my squad. Moving on to the front 3, I do have Isaac, Wood, and Cunha. Pretty standard here. Of course, Isaac is facing Ipswich away. Could not get rid of him there. And Wood does have a decent fixture against Brentford. Of course, Forest are fighting for that top four spot so that they could land a Champions League position. So they're going to be doing everything in their power to kind of beat Brentford in this fixture. And Chris Wood is back on the scoring sheet as well. In his last game, he also scored. And my last pick here is Cunha, another differential. I do see a lot of people going for Strad Larson over Cunha. I think Cunha played very well last fixture against United. He did score, I believe. And up against Leicester, one of the worst sides in the Prem as well. Wolves are also fighting for relegation, so I do believe Cunha is going to get a good amount of minutes, and I do believe Cunha is one of the best attackers that Wolves has. So Cunha is definitely going to make my team. Let's move on to my team selection. Okay, so now moving on to my team selection, I am going to be lining up with a 3-4-3 with 5.2 in the bank. Starting off in goal, as I said, this lineup was made before the Jose Sarr news. So I'm probably going to be playing Leno as my as my main goalkeeper, and probably replacing Jose Sarr if news comes out that he's probably going to be injured for that next game against Leicester. Moving on to my back three, I do have Livermento, Robinson, and Nuri. As you could see, these are probably the strongest sides that I could get in here. I could probably go in for another Wolves defender if it is said that Jose Sa is out, might replace Mikalenkovic or Kirkes with another Wolves defender. But moving on to my midfield, I have a midfield four of Iwobi, Palmer, Salah, and Jacob Murphy. My captaincy is currently on Salah with their Spurs at home fixture. Liverpool I think they only need a win this next game against Spurs, and they win the Premier League since Arsenal did tie against Crystal Palace. So captaincy is currently on Salah. Could go with the differential pick here, but currently it's on Salah. And my front three is Chris Wood, Isaac, and Cunha. And my bench is looking with Alenga, Mikalenkovic, and Kirkes. Depending on Alenga, kind of depending on Alenga's minutes and kind of my last minute decision making, I probably will see if I'll play him or not, or I'll even probably get rid of him for another player. But yeah, probably the only thing that I would switch up here is the captaincy. Depending on, I'm going to see if Salah is going to be how major of a pick Salah is going to be in terms of captaincy. Therefore, I could probably go for a differential pick here, maybe even Acuna. That Leicester side is definitely very weak, and Wolves are fighting to get out of relegation. So Cunha could be a good differential for this game week. But yeah, this is my team. Let's move on to MIGS' team.
Yeah, so now going on to my Game Week 34 transfer plan. And my first pick, I do have 3 free transfers as I didn't use them last week. My first transfer is going to be Joao Pedro for Cunha. And the reason being just Cunha does have some really good fixtures coming up this game week against Leicester at home. Next week, I believe he has Manchester United, but this is a really good striker. He wasn't playing as of late, but he is a good player. And I'm even thinking about captaining him this week. And my next pick is going to be Mateta for Chris Wood, as Chris Wood does have some good fixtures, these upcoming fixtures, and Chris Wood this game week does go against Brentford at home. So I do think there's a good chance that he is going to get on the scoreboard. But my next transfer is going to be Guardiola for Nori, and the reason being, as I said, with Wolves, they do have a good fixture. But the reason I'm taking out Guardiola is just to release some of my money, so I could for this next pick here, I am going to be bringing in Arne Slot for my last game week for my coach. And the reason being, I am not taking more of a risk here is the reason I just want to finish strong. I am going to be playing down 2 players as as you can see, I think I have like 7 or 8 players that are not going to be playing this game week. So I am going to be taking a -4, but I do want my coach to at least get a win so I could get some points and just recover from being down 2 players. But now going on to my game week 34 team selection. Now going on to my game week 34 team selection, I do have a 3-4-3, and I do have Areola in goal, and I do have a backline 3 of Nori, Livermento, Burns, and I also have a midfield 4 of Palmer, Murphy, Salah, and Rogers, and 3 strikers with Cunha, Wood, and Marmouche. And I do still have my my coach slot, so Arnie Slot is going to be my coach for this game week. And as I said before, I am going to be down 2 players. Marmouche and Rogers are not going to be playing, and my bench is also all not going to be playing at all. So I am going to be betting very big on the Newcastle game, as well as my captaincy. I'm going to be doing a differential with Cunha, and I'm going to be also betting in on Arnie Slot to get a win. But yeah, this is my my team. Tell me what y'all think, and yeah, just make sure to leave a comment down below.
And that is all for this video. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you guys all next week for our Game Week 35 team selection.